Like,
tease for him.
Yeah, we've been spending time looking at this. Like, my belief is it's sort of like, what's going to happen with electricity? Well, a lot of shit's going to happen with electricity. Some of it's going to be good. Some of it's going to change stuff. Some of it's going to be like, this is going to be, shit that kills a bunch of people. Like, it's opening a door that you can't, say, well, talk about it in a kind of a blanket way. But I think with what I see is, like, for example, if you try to get ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to write you something, it's really shitty. And it's shitty because by its nature, it goes to the mean, to the average. And it's not reliable. And I just can't even stand to see what it writes. Now, it's a useful tool if you're a writer and you're going, what's the thing? I'm trying to set something up, or somebody sends someone a letter, but it's delayed 2 days and it can give you some examples of that. I actually don't think it's very likely that it's going to be able to write anything meaningful, and in particular, that it's going to be making movies like from whole cloth, like Tilly Norwood. Like, that's bullshit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's not. I think it turns out the technology is not progressing in exactly the same way they sort of presented it. And really, what it is going to be a tool, just like sort of visual effects. And yeah, it needs to have language around it. You need to protect your name and likeness. You can do that. You can watermark it. Those laws already exist. I can't sell your fucking picture for money. I can't. You can sue me, period. I might have the ability to draw you, to make you in a very realistic way, but that's already against the law. And the unions I think the guilds are gonna manage this where it's like, okay, look, if this is a tool that actually helps us, for example, we don't have to go to the North Pole, right? We can shoot the scene here in our parkas and whatever it is, but then make it appear very realistically as if we're in the North Pole. It's going to save us a lot of money, a lot of time. We're going to focus on the performances and not be freezing our ass off out there and running back inside. That's useful. Just like Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn used to be like driving their car and there's a wind blowing a painting behind them and it looked goofy. And now, in people use a lot of computer-generated stuff. And some of it is going to replace just that. Like, instead of 500 guys in Singapore, making $2 an hour to render all the graphics for a superhero movie, there's going to be able to do that a lot easier. There's already laws around and guild guidelines around like how many union extras you have to use. But also, we've been tiling extras. Like, there weren't a million orcs in Middle Earth. You know what I mean? Right. There aren't in Invictus. There weren't all those people in the stadium. Like, that's something we've been doing. It kind of feels to me like the thing we were talking about earlier, where there's a lot more fear because we have this existential dread. It's going to wipe everything out. Right. But that actually runs counter, in my view, to what history seems to show, which is adoption is slow, it's incremental. I think a lot of that rhetoric comes from people who are trying to justify valuations around companies where they go, we're going to change everything. In 2 years, there's going to be no more work. Right. Well, the reason they're saying that is because they need to ascribe a valuation for investment that can warrant the capex spend they're going to make on these data centers with the argument that like, as soon as we do the next model, it's going to scale up, it can be 3 times as good. Except that actually ChatGPT-5 about 25% better than ChatGPT-4 and costs about 4 times as much in the way of electricity and data. So when they say that's like plateauing, the early AI, the line went up very steeply, and it's now sort of leveling off. I think it's because, and yes, it'll get better, but it's going to be really expensive to get better. And a lot of people were like, fuck this, we want ChatGPT-4, because it turned out like the vast majority of people who use AI are using it to as companion bots to chat with at night. And so there's no work, there's no productivity, there's no value to it. I would argue there's also not a lot of social value to getting people to focus on an AI friend who's, telling you that you're great and listening to everything you say and being sycophantic. But that's sort of a side issue. I think for this particular purpose, the way I see the technology and what it's good at and what it's not, it's going to be good at filling in all the places that are expensive and burdensome and they make it harder to do it. And it's always going to rely fundamentally on the human artistic aspects of it.
Well, I think the more it becomes ubiquitous, the more people are going to appreciate real things that are made by real people. You still appreciate a handmade table. You're going to appreciate did you see